It was January in Minnesota. There was about a foot of snow on the ground, and my parents were at the bar, and my brother was out at a friend's house, but he would come back later. I was in my living room watching TV when I heard a small knocking coming from downstairs. So naturally, I walked down to investigate all over the basement just to find nothing. Not thinking much about it, I walked back upstairs to the living room to continue watching. About 5 minutes later, I hear a loud crash from the basement and what sounded like a door opening. At this point, I was pretty worried. I started to make my way down the stairs terrified, and as I went down, I thought maybe my older brother was home without me knowing, so I called his name. Nothing. I called again, and nothing. Obviously this was stupid because, looking at it now, I should have probably just ran to a room and locked the door and called the police, but I didn't know what I was thinking then. Anyway, slowly, I kept moving down the stairs, only to find that there were drawers open in desks, boxes opened, and a few plastic bins and containers, all knocked down and tipped over. But worst of all, my back door was wide open with footprints leading out to the door. I shut it, called my parents, and when they came, my mom called the police, while my dad followed them. According to him, they went over my fence and to the road behind my house where they stopped. My guess is he was picked up in a car or something, but me and the police never found out if it was planned or just random house they had picked to rob. This incident absolutely terrified me. Two years ago, I got home from my last lecture from university before the start of Christmas break. My family had gone to Scotland for the weekend, so that meant I was all alone. Once I arrived at home, I showered and was getting food ready. After eating, I turned on my PS4, plugged my headset, and began playing. However, an hour later, I heard loud thudding coming from upstairs. Rather than being brave and checking it upstairs, I ran to close and lock the living room doors to prevent a robber from entering. I hurried to my phone and called the police, who arrived quickly and began searching. After 20 minutes of searching, they found that someone had broken into my house through my bedroom window. Luckily, no valuables had been taken. I did, however, get a 2-hour lecture from my parents on what precautions to take when home alone. My family's house was sort of far out from town. We had neighbors, but they were pretty far away from our house, as we were kind of what you call rural society. My room also had a large window facing out to the driveway. Anyway, I was home alone cleaning my room and singing a song extremely loud as it was playing on the TV. I looked up and suddenly see a man power walking up to my driveway very quickly. It's obvious no one is home but me since there aren't any cars in the driveway. So I ran to the front door, which was open because it was hot as hell outside. Locked it and closed and locked my window. Turns out that guy didn't like that. I called 911 because he was still approaching my house and I was getting scared. While on the phone with the 911 operator, he started banging on my front window by the door and then the door itself. He then tried kicking in the door and breaking the window. I went and hid in my mom's closet with a knife until the cops showed up. By the time they got there, the man was obviously gone. They found him about an hour later though, walking up and down my street. He told them that he had heard my pretty voice singing and just wanted to say hi. Plus, he was drunk, but admitted to being sober at the time of this incident and that he only started drinking after I quote-unquote rejected him. He also told them that he planned to come in and have some fun with me, whatever that meant, after he found out that I was home alone and that he was waiting to come back after dark. I used to love sitting on a swing in my backyard at night and listening to music. It was, and still is, very cathartic because I basically live right on the edge of a fairly large and densely wooded area. Anyways, one night, Around maybe 10 p.m. or so, I decided to go sit on the swing. I gathered my jacket, headphones, and a beer and walked outside. Immediately upon stepping onto my driveway, I got this really weird feeling like I was being watched or something. Thinking nothing of it, I started walking towards the swing set. Every step I took, that uneasy feeling got stronger and stronger until it almost had reached panic levels in my body. I could feel it in my stomach. My body suddenly felt very cold, and at this point, I accepted that I was subconsciously alarmed about something. I never had this feeling before, so I was weirded out. I came to a complete stop about 10 feet away from the swings and began to look around and at the woods. Something was seriously wrong. It felt different being outside. I tried to force the weirdness out of my mind, but as I settled down onto the swing, I was afraid. I got through maybe half a song and somehow this feeling had continued to get stronger. It felt urgent. I've never been worried like that before, but in that moment, it hit me like a brick. I felt like prey. I turned my music off and just sat, beer forgotten, looking around and at the woods. Physically, I couldn't take it. I could barely breathe, so I jumped off the swing and sprinted back inside. Closed and locked the door, checked all the doors and windows, closed all the curtains, turned on all lights, and surrounded myself with an arsenal of weapons. I could still feel it, but it slowly faded away. The next morning, I saw my friend out by his car, so I walked up and started telling him about my experience last night. Apparently, he lives 2 houses down, and he said that when he walked out to stretch before his run, that at night, he got the same weird vibe. As he walked to the end of his driveway, it got stronger and he started getting nervous. He started running and stopped after a few feet, turned his music off and scanned the woods. Then he started running again. He then got to my driveway and was so scared, uncomfortable, and freaked out that he just decided to call it quits for the night. He also said that he literally felt like prey being stalked by something evil. It was exactly almost to the T how I'd felt. I have absolutely no idea what it was, and it hasn't happened again since. But now I only swing facing the woods and I carry a bat down there with me, just in case.